What's up, guys? I'm John Camacho. This is Between the Pylons, and today we are talking about Chop Robinson, the 21st pick in the 2024 NFL Draft to my Miami Dolphins. And guys, I have to start this video off by telling you exactly how I was feeling when the Dolphins took Chop Robinson with the 21st pick in the NFL Draft. And it was not good. I'll be 100% honest with you guys. I really very badly wanted the Dolphins to draft Quinyon Mitchell, who went exactly one pick later to the Philadelphia Eagles, and who is, aside from not catching any interceptions, absolutely crushing it in his first year in the NFL. Now, the Dolphins didn't necessarily need cornerback by any means, but I viewed the draft board in such a way that I thought Quinyon Mitchell was a very clear best player available. He was one of my favorite players in the draft, and I just wanted my team to get one of my guys, if that makes any sense. And I know it does if you're a fan of the draft and you watch every year and you have certain names that you were hoping your team gets. And it's gone my way before. It has gone against me before. This year it went against me. And we ended up with Chop Robinson, a pick that going into the draft I hadn't thought a bunch about. I thought that he was a late first to early second talent, developmental defensive end with traits heavy, but hadn't really put it all together in college level and didn't have a lot of faith that he would put it all together early on in his NFL career either. And look, we do need to give a little bit of context of the situation Chop Robinson came into, right? Because Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips both get hurt in the 2023 season, which is a big reason why the Dolphins, in my opinion, reached on Chop Robinson, because that was a little bit of the best defensive end available at that point in the draft. And that makes a lot of sense. I don't have a problem with that logic, although I don't love reaching on a player. You reach on a guy because you know that you don't have a ton of depth behind your two starters that are coming back off of injury, right? The thing that nobody can control, and just the unfortunate part of this Dolphins season, was that both of those players get more injuries and have now out for the rest of the season. And now Chop Robinson is kind of the biggest name on that defensive edge position, right? We have a couple good D tackles, and you can talk about the Dolphins defensive line as a whole and a little bit of a different conversation. But when we're just talking about Chop Robinson, he really was never supposed to be a complete player this year. And he's kind of doing his best to be what he is supposed to be, and I think has done a pretty good job, especially the past 2 weeks. Let's go ahead and look at his total grades on PFF just to get a kind of a full picture of what we are looking at here. And look, when we look at Chop Robinson, especially in year one of his career, the only thing I really care about is his pass rushing grades. That's kind of what we were expecting to see from him in his first year. Yes, he is a developmental player, but he knew he had the raw tools to at least rush the passer somewhat effectively. And while that hasn't always been the case this season, the past 2 weeks especially, I mean, look, we have 10 hurries in the past 2 games alone with 21 total throughout the entire season. So that just tells you how dominant he has been in the past 2 weeks. And granted, playing against two teams that aren't exactly known for great offensive line play, but really, as I always say in these videos, dominate versus lesser competition. That is the first step of being a good pro in the NFL. I got to see you do it at some level, because if we can start here and we can gain some confidence that, yeah, you are among the world's best at this, now you can be the best of the best, right? That's kind of where I look at it from a developmental standpoint. We're seeing exactly what we need to see from that perspective. Now, run game isn't there yet, and I didn't really expect it to be there. That's kind of why we set this video out the way we did, was to give him a really fair assessment on what he has done this year. Wasn't really great the first 9 weeks. I avoided making this video throughout the first 9 weeks because I didn't have a lot of positives to say. Over the past 2 weeks, he's turned the corner, which has made me, for the first time as a Dolphins fan, excited about the pick and excited to talk about him on this channel. And just to kind of hit that point even harder, I do want to throw this up on the screen. Chop Robinson had the team's highest rated grade on PFF in week 11, which is absolutely awesome. And over the last 4 games, he's generated 18 pressures, and his win percentage is 17.3% for the season, which ranks 15 among all pass rushers in the NFL. He is really turning the corner in the second half of his rookie season. Let's go ahead and look at some of the stuff he's been doing on the field real quick. And look, as I always say, this is not a deep dive film review by any means. Just a quick snapshot, just showing a couple plays, what he's done well, what looks good, what we're liking, what we're not liking. And I just have a couple clips here for you guys. First one here against the Raiders. Nice little hurry, getting close to the quarterback there. Fights, man. Explosive off the line. Disruptor, especially against the Raiders. I mean, the Raiders game, he was just the definition of a disruptor. Did some really good stuff against the Rams as well, but I do want to show this. The goal, just get upfield as fast as possible. I think that's kind of what they've unleashed with him, is just do everything you can to disrupt the quarterback. It's not even really about sacks at this point in his career. It's just, there it is. That's a good sack. I mean, that's just explosiveness. This is athleticism. Nice little stunt inside. And yeah, good stuff. I'm sure the back end helped there. Wasn't really a good place to throw the ball in that play. Ooh, gets absolutely manhandled. No flag. Watch this. Got to throw a flag here. Gets under him, gets by him. Yeah, why not just hold him the whole way? That's fine. Man, just does a good job of fighting through contact. Don't let him come up the middle. That was a nice little scheme design. See him trip here a little bit. Gets untouched to the quarterback. It's not very realistic, but we love it. Ooh, I love this play. Love this play. See Dion Dawkins on his heels here. It's a good tackle. He kind of, fight through the tackle, get to the quarterback. A lot of good stuff there, right? Look, not a complete player yet. And I'm by no means sitting here telling you that this is a guy that you need to watch out for and he's going to be a superstar next year. I don't even think it's next year. I think we're looking at a guy who hopefully can become a specialist in year two. Like, he is somebody that you are genuinely nervous about when it is obvious passing down situations. And then in year three is where I look at him as, okay, you can develop your game to a point where you are a genuine factor on passing downs. And then in year three, I'm sitting here looking, okay, now can you be an every down threat? Right. That's kind of the projection that I see for a Chop Robinson, as just a fan of, okay, what is our best case scenario for you to be a superstar in the NFL? And that's a great place to be at 21 years old, right? And that's kind of where I want to end this conversation, because I do find it interesting, right? You look at a Jared Verse, who probably going to be defensive rookie of the year, playing great. He's an awesome player, but he's 24 years old, and he's developed physically and mentally in college to a place to where he's able to kind of hit the ground running in the NFL. You look at a Chop Robinson who throughout the draft process was always kind of seen as this developmental type of player, and a guy who had elite traits, and could you develop them into a great NFL player? And look, through 11, 12 weeks in the NFL, it's looking like the Dolphins are doing that. I'm really kind of excited about what we're seeing from that. And just kind of from an ideological standpoint, it's kind of interesting how much more valuable is the Jared Verse type, who obviously 3 years older, versus the Chop Robinson, who might have even more upside down the line, who is younger and will have more time to develop. I've always kind of leaned towards age doesn't really matter to me. Like, I care about where you're at right now in your development and where I can realistically get you within 2 to 3 years before I have to start thinking about a second contract. That's always kind of been how I've thought about it. But I am interested, and if anybody is watching this and wants to give their thoughts, I am kind of curious where that goes, because it does feel like there's going to be a little bit of a shift in how we view these younger guys, with a guy like Bo Nix coming out, who was obviously a very old college prospect, but he is dominating right now as a rookie quarterback, and he's looking really, really polished after he kind of got the rust out early on in his rookie season. He's really putting it together. So I don't know. Again, I don't even know where I stand on that, but I did want to bring that up as kind of just the final thought for this video, because I'm really excited about what Chop Robinson can do in year 3, in year 4, right? And it's already looking good, and I'm already kind of really excited about how he's looking as a pass rusher, just a pure pass rusher, and what he can do beyond that. I feel like the sky is the limit for this dude.